Okay, so what are business processes, right? You all know what business processes are. You all are studying business, and if you think about businesses in general, you'll know what this is, but this is just maybe some new vocabulary to describe business processes, right? So, and formally, it's the flow of material, information, or knowledge. That's kind of vague, right? But the second point right here is the set of tasks that an organization takes to conduct its business, right? Pretty straightforward right here. So you can think of a business as the collection of business processes. Okay, so let's just take a real life example, very simple one. If you take a small business, a one-person business, cabinet maker. So a cabinet maker, what does a cabinet maker do? He buys raw materials, wood, nails, and he has some tools, some varnish he buys also, and then he designs a table or a cabinet, and he works on the wood, he adds value to it, varnishes it, he has an end product. So he took the wood and he converted it into a table, and then he sells that table either to a wholesaler or to customers, right? So you can just think of any business and you're adding value to something or adding a service, but it's a set of steps. If you take that same example and you think of the cabinet maker becomes successful and he grows his business, and that's what we care more about because in MIS we study organizations, right? So now that you become a bigger, larger organization, business organization, the cabinet maker now, he's going to have maybe one person or several people deal with purchasing the lumber, going and getting the lumber, purchasing all the raw products needed, and then he has a set of the actual production. The cabinet maker is working all day in the workshop, and he has another set of people selling it, right, and marketing and sales. That's going to lead to the next slide, which talks about functional business processes. I just described that. We'll talk a little bit more about that, right? So that's what a business is. So the last slide is a collection of business processes. You can think of it as a business is everybody's task in the business or every department's task in the business. And the way you conduct these tasks can be an asset or liability to your business. So if you do it really well, you have the process down, then you become more successful. And for how we're going to relate this, how you're going to use this in the forum is you have to talk about the business process of being admitted into the University of Belize. So you as a customer need apply to admissions. So admissions is a functional business process, a process of admissions. There's somebody's job to look at all your documents and admit you to the university or not, right? So is the process at UB, University of Belize, admission process, an asset or a liability? You have to use these terms for the forum. And if your personal experience, you got to see that process as a customer, right? You got to see the job that the admissions officer did, right? So if it was well flowing and it worked out and it was very easy for you and straightforward, then for you the business process of the admissions department was an asset to the university. If yours was very difficult and you had to go multiple times, spend a lot of time and money applying and getting accepted, then you're going to state that it's a liability to the University of Belize. Right, so this is straightforward stuff, you know. This is now some new terminology I want to use. But more importantly is that the question that you see right here on the slide is, what is the connection between organizations, information systems, and business processes? This is the key. Not only is this question on the test, but as an MIS practitioner after completing this course, you'll have to be able to explain this, because when people think about technology, they think about the technical aspects of it. They don't think about, well, if you implement technology or an information system into an organization, you must change the business process. And that's what you're supposed to explain in the forum, that you take this face-to-face application and for admission to the university and you move it online. That's great. So if you invest in the tools needed, you could have the best system. but if you don't change the admissions process, specifically the job description of the admissions officer, the admissions officer no longer sits in front of you and face to face and helps you fill out the forms and gives it back and photocopies and put it in file. That's how the business process used to be. But when we add this technology, you have to change that, right? Now they sit behind a computer and they do it through email, and it's different. So to be successful, you need to change the business process, and that can include training the person, changing their job description, maybe to a point eliminating some of the officers if you can do more, but you have to change the business process for the information system to be implemented successfully in the organization.